Hi, I'm Raleigh Brown, and what follows is a series of videos about soloing over chord changes on the guitar. Okay, and this ended up being a more complicated subject than I had hoped it would, so it's going to take probably another 3 videos. And this first one is just about the major scale and the blues scale, and then the second one will probably be about applying those and soloing over some chords, and then the third one will be about jazz and how to play without scales, and just the arpeggios are your guide. It's important to understand that what I'm playing here is giving you the underlying ideas and sounds of these scales, but learning the mechanics of these scales on the fingerboard is a bigger topic, and one which I hope to cover in some full-length DVDs, which will be available at some point in the not-too-distant future. But to start with, remember that all the notes are right here at the bottom of the guitar, and you can find everything you need there until you need to get up here, in which case you have to find it somewhere else. But my old friend Steve Kaufman says, use the Bible method, which is seek and ye shall find, and if you do that, you'll be able to find a lot of the stuff yourself using your ears. Okay, and then it's a matter of making it human, putting some humanity into what you play, which means that when you phrase something, it shouldn't just be mechanical, it should be have a human feel to it. Okay, have fun with this, and here we go. We're going to approach it from 2 directions. There's soloing in which all the chords in a song are based on the same scale, and there's soloing in which all the chords are not based on the same scale. So today we're going to do based on the same scale. It's a very simple way of thinking. If you have, say, 3 chords, your C, your F, your G, and all the notes in all those chords are from the C major scale, then you can just use that scale. Now I want to talk a little bit about scales in general here. Basically, you could look at the guitar and play every note in the chromatic scale. If I start on C, that would be every fret. Okay, or we could translate across the fingerboard the same notes. So it's 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1. That's every note we use. We use a 12-tone scale most of the time when we play Western music, and it's good to know that because it means it's not really all that complicated. There's only 12 notes, but what we do is extract from that scale different groups of notes, which we call scales also, smaller scales, littler, and from those scales we get different tonalities. So you can have a very kind of bright tonality, or you could have a very dark tonality, or you could have a bluesy tonality. Okay, and learning how to pull those different notes out is part of what we're after. And since there's only 12 notes, it's really not that bad. Now the first thing I'd recommend is, if you're just starting to get into this way of thinking, since we want to keep everything simple, I would recommend that you learn how to count the major scale. So here's our C major scale. Most of you know this from memory. We've been listening to it all our lives. If you saw The Sound of Music, you heard it a lot, I think. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And in this case the notes are C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. What we want to do is learn how each of those notes sounds within the scale. So we want to know what, if this is 1, we want to know what a 3 sounds like. 1, 3. So we learn to count like this. We go 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, 7, 1, 8. And if you get those all down, then when you hear a song on the radio or in your own head or wherever, you can kind of start to hear and figure out what notes the person is singing. So one way to do this is practice any melody you know. And it's good if it's a major scale melody. That's they're more common than most other ones, but old folk songs are usually good for this kind of thing. Okay, so once you learn that, you have a kind of friendship with 7 notes: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then C is the 8th note. Okay. Then if you learn the blues scale, now the blues scale has its own formula based on the major scale. The major scale goes 1, 2, 3. The blues scale, instead of 2 and 3, does the note in between, which is the flat 3. So it goes 1, flat 3. The major scale has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The blues scale has 1, flat 3, 4, 5. But it also uses the note in between the 4 and the 5, the flat 5. And then the major scale goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The blues scale goes, instead of 6 and 7, it does the flat 7. So the formula for a blues scale is 1, flat 3, 4, flat 5, 5, flat 7, 8 is 1 again. Okay? Now, that's a 6-note scale. A lot of people play a 5-note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, they leave out the flat 5, but we're not going to do that. So what we have now is we have, in our blues scale, we have 3 notes that are not in the major scale. We have the flat 3, the flat 5, and the flat 7. Those notes are colloquially known as the blue notes because they give it a bluesier sound. Now we have 7 notes from the major scale, and if you develop this, 1, flat 3, 1, 4, 1, flat 5, 1, 5, 1, flat 7, 1, 8. Then you have a relationship with the 7 notes of the major scale and the 3 notes from the blues scale. That's 10 out of 12. That's enough for starters, and those other 2 you can learn along the way. So that's how you start with that idea of understanding how notes sound within a tonality by virtue of where they fit into a scale. Okay? Okay, so that's it for video 1, and we'll be back with another video on how to apply this stuff real soon, and then we'll move on from there. Thanks for listening. I hope this helps. Bye-bye.